Straight ahead on 12 News, a back-to-school challenge for local nonprofits.
The next few weeks is going to be really tight, particularly in the afternoons.
Then, a significant expansion in Brooklyn Park as a local company molds new opportunity. But first, why the great Minnesota get-together is also great for a Brooklyn Center business. 12 News starts right now. You might not think the State Fair would have a financial impact on cities as far away as Brooklyn Center, but that's not the case.
For 12 days every year, one nearly vacant shopping center becomes a go-to destination thanks to the fair. As Delane Cleveland explains, one of the remaining businesses has tried to reap the benefits.
Convenience comes in many forms.
Today is obviously probably the busiest day we've had so far.
And at Brookdale Square Shopping Center,
Oh, we're going to the fair. Yeah.
convenience means parking your car in a spacious lot at no cost.
Makes it easy.
And hopping on a bus to get to the Great Minnesota Get-Together for $5 round trip.
Yeah, much better than parking down at the fair.
Yeah, definitely. Cheaper too.
However, most fairgoers say you normally wouldn't catch them frequenting Brookdale Square.
Nope.
Seeing as most of them are closed, no.
I'm not even sure what's in this mall anymore.
That's an attitude employees of Pep Boys along Shingle Creek Parkway hope to change.
We've seen an increase in business since the State Fair's bus rides have been going on, so it's been good for us.
Pep Boys manager Mike Burke placed a sign near the Brookdale Square entrance encouraging people to have their cars serviced while they're out at the state fairgrounds. In the 3 years since this became a park and ride spot for the fair, it's worked.
We get a lot of traffic, we get a lot of customers that come through here, or a lot of new customers actually.
Mechanics say they see an average of 3 to 5 cars a day belonging to fairgoers.
We have basic oil changes, tires.
But they're not just seeing short-term gains.
A lot of repeat business.
Employees say they've had people come back months later who didn't even know the store existed prior to parking for the fair.
Yeah, it's been a real good opportunity for us.
An opportunity they initially weren't too happy about due to concerns that fairgoers would take up customer parking spaces. Turns out, it hasn't been a problem.
It really hasn't. They've been real good about helping us with the process, and it's really been a little bit of a boon for our business here.
Officials with Metro Transit say the parking lot holds roughly 850 cars, but by about noon on Monday, those spaces were nearly filled. So Mike and Alex work began to create about 150 spaces in an overflow lot next door on the side of an old Ford dealership. So hopefully that'll help out for the duration of the time here.
That's a great idea. The people are there and so are their cars. Why not?
There you go.
All
Yeah.
right,
Thanks, Delane. Minnesota delegates to the Republican National Convention in Tampa, say they are rolling with the punches. Tropical storm Isaac sent early morning storms to the Tampa area. As we went to air Monday evening, the weather was windy but clear. Convention organizers decided ahead of the storm to cancel Monday's schedule.
Despite the weather and the monkey wrench that it threw into the schedule, everybody is having a good time, and I think everyone is ready for, kind of want to get today out of the way so we can start on our business tomorrow afternoon.
Delegates like Jeff Johnson of Plymouth spent the day sightseeing and mentioned that this has happened before. You might remember 4 years ago, the Republican National Convention was also condensed into 3 days as Hurricane Gustav threatened New Orleans.
Family, friends, and the law enforcement community are remembering a local police officer killed in a tragic accident. Barry Pankinen was killed last week in an off-duty motorcycle accident near his home in Plymouth. On Saturday, law enforcement personnel formed a color guard in his honor at Trinity Lutheran Church in Long Lake. Pankinen was a 12-year veteran of the Fridley Police Department. Members of the Minnesota Patriot Guard led a procession of police vehicles to the cemetery. Pankinen was also a veteran of the Army National Guard. Pankinen was 38 years old. An investigation into the accident is continuing. Back to school brings excitement, jitters, and for local nonprofits, a gaping hole.
As Renee Bonneau reports, a Golden Valley nonprofit is trying to fill an urgent need as it loses some of its best volunteers.
This way or, okay.
For the second summer, Jeffrey Dominguez has devoted a few hours a week to volunteer at Prism in Golden Valley.
I came here because I wish to try and kind of do some kind of positive civic service.
He also had trouble finding a job, so he had the time, but in a few weeks, he won't.
This is my last week here because the next week I have to spend getting my stuff ready and to go to college.
He's not the only one. Every year, PRISM faces a mass exodus of student volunteers in the fall. PRISM relies on about 100 volunteers a week. When students go back to college and high school, they'll lose about half that.
Most of my young volunteers have committed to more than a shift a week, so they're leaving huge holes.
Good afternoon, PRISM. How may I direct your call?
The students are leaving behind positions at the front desk, doing data entry, and working in PRISM's thrift store and food shelf. PRISM is looking for people to fill 3 to 4 hour shifts.
The next few weeks is going to be really tight, particularly in the afternoons, but I can still use people in the mornings too.
Are we going to try and put this back there? Or?
Dominguez encourages anybody with a few free hours to lend a hand, and not just because it's a way to pass the time.
It's a good cause, and it's, I'd say on the whole, fulfilling experience.
In Golden Valley, Renee Bonneau, 12 News.
PRISM will lose about 42 young volunteers this fall. If you would like to help out, you can call PRISM's volunteer director at this number, 763-529-1350. From Disturbia in suburbia to now a possible hoops hangout.
A proposal to turn a warehouse complex in Golden Valley into a maze of zombies amusement facility has fallen through. And now, while those plans were nixed, a former college basketball coach has come forward with the hope of turning the warehouse into a place to teach hoops. It's located in the 8800 block of 7th Avenue North. The coach currently operates the Minnesota School of Basketball in Plymouth and wants to relocate it to Golden Valley. The school would provide individualized basketball instruction for kids from 7 years old up through college age. The proposal received approval from the Golden Valley Planning Commission. It now awaits council approval in September. Also in Golden Valley, a developer is proposing to build a high-density apartment complex at Highway 169 and Olson Memorial Highway. The site right now is a small office facility and a former bowling alley. The developer wants to build a 6-story luxury apartment building named Taburin. It would be geared towards single working adults. There are several steps before the project gets the go-ahead, but the city is receptive to the idea. Well, coming up, what's driving expansion and possible job growth at one Brooklyn Park business?
That's next in Business Matters. And later in sports, a preview of one of the state's football powers, Wayzata.
But first, summer's definitely not done yet. Your AccuWeather forecast shows a warm week ahead. There is a resurgence of sorts going on among manufacturing businesses in the Northwest Metro.
This summer, several companies have announced major expansions due to growth in the medical device industry. In this week's Business Matters, we visit a Brooklyn Park manufacturing company that sees big potential in the production of medical devices. On the production floor of Diversified Plastics Incorporated, millions of plastic parts are being made each year for a number of different industries.
We've got a couple of water filtration products that we're working with here, some parts for aerospace. Another product that we make is actually for a scented ball that goes inside your gym.
But it's the manufacturing of medical devices and products.
These products here are for female urologies,
where this company is seeing double-digit growth in its business.
It's great to be in that field right now. You look at the industries that are really growing, you will always need medical devices.
What you're seeing is larger medical device manufacturers outsourcing the manufacturing. Now, the good news today is we're seeing a ton of that in Minnesota.
While medical device giants like Boston Scientific and Medtronic work on product development and expand into global markets, Shay Mandel of Life Science Alley says it's more cost-effective for them to outsource some of their manufacturing to local companies.
It's a way for them to kind of invest in expansion without putting heavy dollars into large manufacturing facilities, whereas they can outsource now those opportunities with companies like some of the expansions here in Minnesota.
This is our a new latest edition here we just picked up this summer.
At Diversified Plastics,
we're in expansion mode.
The company is getting ready to expand with nearly 10,000 additional square feet, anticipating more business from the medical device field.
At least part of it will be what we call a white room, which will be used more for manufacture of medical facility or medical parts.
That will help free up more room in their overstuffed warehouse and on their production floor. But it ultimately enables this local company to accept even more business from the medical device industry.
We really want to take it to the next level. We want to take a product and build it completely for them.
The expansion at Diversified Plastics is expected to create some job growth as well. Coming up, what left teachers shocked and excited in Plymouth.
And up next in sports, our final Give It a Try of the summer. John Jacobson has that and more when we come back. John Jacobson with sports. Pretty good night of boxing for some local guys who were looking to get their names out there again.
A chance to cheer on some local favorites.
Right,
yeah.
and had some experience and did well on this particular night. The Northwest suburbs were well represented on a pro boxing card on Saturday in St. Paul with a handful of fighters from our area in action. Starting with heavyweight Aaron Green of Golden Valley in the black trunks. Green clubs Rob Haney to the mat with a right and moments later stops him in the first round. Corey Rodriguez of Brooklyn Park in the black and red trunks here. It isn't easy, but Rodriguez wins all 4 rounds to take a unanimous decision over Ramon Barber in a junior middleweight bout. In the main event of the night, Ismael Muwendo, a native of Uganda and formerly at Brooklyn Center, starts to take control against veteran Robert DeLuz. DeLuz catches his arm in the ropes, and then Muwendo drops him with a wicked body shot right there. The fight is stopped because of a cut as Muwendo stays unbeaten. After a handful of 0-week games, including a 20-14 victory for Hopkins over Houston Episcopal, most local prep football teams get started this week. On today's training camp report, Jay Wilcox profiles one of the state's powers, Wayzata.
It was a near miss for Wayzata in 2011, and they hope to take that final step this fall. The Trojans were undefeated until losing in the Prep Bowl to Eden Prairie. It's an experienced, hungry group getting set to take the field this fall.
Our defense looks pretty good this year. We got, I think, 7 starters returning. So we look trying to play as fast as we can and just get our speed up to get ready for the season. And
our running game's always going to be strong. Our linemen, they always work hard all off season, all spring, all summer. And receivers should be strong this year. Same with running back. We have Mitch coming back.
Mitch is senior running back Mitch Underhill, who rushed for 247 yards and 4 TDs in Wayzata's state title win as a sophomore before missing virtually all of last season with a knee injury.
It was kind of a bummer because I had to sit out, watch every game, and I just sat on the sidelines wishing I could be out there with my team playing that state championship against Eden Prairie. And, it was just so hard to do that. And I've been training, 6 days a week, 2 hours each day.
This year now, Mitch is a senior, and I know having sat out all last year, he's very anxious to show that he could be a great back, and we believe he's going to want to be one of the premier players in the state.
Other key players to watch include linebacker Chris Whipson, who's committed to the Gophers, guard Chandler Wright, who is drawing Division I interest, and receiver Jeff Borchert. This looks like a possible title contender in the new Class 6A, but it isn't automatic.
definitely, if you just think that things are going to be handed to you, you could end up getting upset and lose. So we definitely have to make sure we're sharp every single practice and get better every day.
At the very least, Wayzata sure has the look of a top-flight team. Jay Wilcox, 12 Sports.
Here's the lowdown on the Trojans. They were 12-1 a season ago. Brad Anderson is 128-25 as Trojans head coach. Wayzata opens the season against Bloomington Jefferson Thursday. Over the past several weeks, we've met a lot of local triathletes of all levels. Here's Jay again with the season finale of his Give It a Try series for 2012.
It was to raise money for a good cause that got Carlene Griggs of Maple Grove started in triathlons in 2007.
A friend had asked me to do the triathlon to raise money for leukemia lymphoma, and at the time my grandfather was battling leukemia. So I decided it'd be a good fundraiser, way to give back, do something for my grandfather, and so I started training and being part of that program.
Griggs, who grew up in New Hope and went to West Lutheran High School, gradually increased her training and distances, and with twin sister Nicole, completed the Madison Ironman.
Back in 2007, I started with an Olympic distance triathlon and threw a couple sprint distance in there, so just followed a regular training program. and then kind of tried to increase that throughout the years. So in 2010, I trained for a half Ironman, and then decided to increase that and go and do a full Ironman in 2011. So each year, I think I keep adding on to how much I have to train.
Here's how Griggs rates herself on a 1 to 5 scale.
I would say for the swim, I am a 3. I probably just kind of stay right there, middle of the pack. Nothing that, you know, is superb numbers or times getting out of the water, but definitely a sport I don't mind. And for the bike, I would say of all of the disciplines, that's my strongest, so I might rate myself at a 4 on the bike. I usually can gain some speed and make up some time on that. And the run, I would probably say, you know, legitimately, I'm probably a 2, maybe a 3, hoping to get a little bit better and a little bit faster and not get passed by so many people on the run.
For Give It a Try, Jay Wilcox, 12 Sports.
Griggs has done her last try this summer, but she'll compete at the Twin Cities Marathon in October and the Las Vegas Marathon in December. So she is keeping busy with their running and biking and swimming and everything.
Yeah, she wants to work on that running, apparently.
Yes, so she'll get some good training then this fall.
Thanks,
All right. Thanks, John. Well, still ahead, a back-to-school makeover that's worth sticking around for.
Let's see what has some teachers especially excited for the new school year. We'll be right back.
Hi, Supreme Makeover. Welcome to our lounge at Wayzata East Middle School.
Teachers at Wayzata Middle School made this video as part of a contest for a lounge makeover. The teacher said the couches were old, some of the technology didn't work, and the microwaves were so slow that sometimes 10 teachers stood in line waiting to heat up their lunch. Well, the teachers won't be having any more of those concerns for this upcoming school year.
That is because they won a lounge makeover, beating out 16 other metro area schools. Schneiderman's Furniture, Hirschfield Paint, ProSource Flooring, and Above the Rest Flooring refurbished this lounge over the summer. Wow. The makeover totaled around $12,000, and teachers got a first look at the new space on Monday.
I was shocked. I didn't know that we would win, but we were thrilled and felt that we deserved it because our lounge did need a lot of work.
The space is designed to encourage small group discussion and be a place for meetings. It'll be used by around 100 staff members at the school, and yes, they did get a few new microwaves as well. Wow,
That's
looks
pretty
great
nice.
in there. Yeah. Come over and do our kitchens, right?
Right. If you can't find your teacher, you know where.
Yeah, exactly. That does it for us. Thanks so much for joining us.
Stay with us. Community Corner is coming up next. We'll see you back here again tomorrow.